6 p.m. in Bamenda, chief town of the northwest region of Cameroon. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. Despite the killings, destructions of properties and kidnappings ongoing in the northwest, southwest and far north regions of Cameroon, Cameroon's Minister of External Relations, Lejeune Belambela, tells the United Nations General Assembly that the country is stable and that reconstruction is ongoing in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Meantime, the prices of basic commodities continues to skyrocket in markets across Cameroon. According to the National Institute of Statistics, they revealed that there has been a sharp increase within the month of July and that of August. And in sports, the indomitable Lions of Cameroon have been defeated by the Tuareg Warriors of South Korea with a score of 1-0. Details and more of these stories will be yours in a few seconds. We begin this newscast to talk about the Anglophone crisis precisely in the northwest region of Cameroon, where another priest has been abducted by separatist fighters. Reverend Father Sejus was abducted yesterday in Vekovi, Division of the northwest region. In a viral video, the separatist general are accusing the father of having handed disappearance of separatist general fire from the Banso Baptist Hospital in Kumbo. This comes after 5 priests, a reverend sister, and 2 lay Christians of the St. Mary Catholic Church were kidnapped in Chang, Mayu Division of the southwest region of Cameroon. It should be recalled that the Pope has joined the bishops of Cameroon to demand for their release. And over to a major lead story. Despite the continuous killings, kidnappings, abductions, and destructions of properties in the northwest, southwest, and far north regions of Cameroon, Cameroon's Minister of External Relations, Lejeune Belambela, tells the United Nations General Assembly that the country is stable. He equally says reconstruction is ongoing in the northwest and southwest regions. Details with Anne Abila.
An end to the unrest in the conflict-stricken northwest and southwest regions seems to be a far-fetched reality as at now. Kidnappings increase on a daily basis, plus the number of arson attacks on schools, private and public offices, and even religious institutions. The latest is that of the St. Mary Catholic Church in Changmamfe, which was set ablaze by yet-to-be-identified individuals. At the moment, the people in the northwest and southwest live in total fear of the unknown every passing day. The government of Cameroon, through its foreign ministry, is of the opinion that the situation is under control after the Grand National Dialogue.
My country's government continues to demonstrate openness and willingness to engage in dialogue to put an end to the socio-political crisis in the northwest and southwest regions. Thus, after holding our Grand National Dialogue in 2019, we continued the process of accelerating and further deepening decentralization.
Cameroon's Minister of External Relations, Lejeune Belambela, addressing the UN General Assembly, says the country is stable, raising it is home for refugees.
Cameroon has always been a land that hosts refugees as well as those in transit. Because of its stability, for many populations, it represents a refuge as they search for peace. As you know, Cameroon is currently hosting more than 500,000 refugees and asylum seekers, which puts it 19th in the world ranking of refugee hosting countries.
Even in the midst of the war, Lejeune Belambela adds that the country is still mobilizing its citizens both at home and abroad to bring peace to the warring areas, especially the far north, the northwest, and the southwest regions.
And still on insecurity, but this time around in the littoral region, 5 suspected armed bandits are now in the dragnet of security elements of the Gendarmerie Brigade in Douala 5 subdivision. The gendarmes equally accuse them of selling arms to other bandits working right here in the city of Douala. Details in this report compiled by Mala Glory.
It is in the Dogbong neighborhood that the suspected bandits were intercepted thanks to an operation launched by the Douala 5 Gendarmerie Brigade.
Poursuivant nos investigations, nous avions interpellé qui nous a conduit à interpeller.
During our investigation, we called the first suspect who guided us to his colleague. We seized a pistol from them at the New Bell neighborhood in Douala.
4 F5 au quartier New Bell à Douala.
These young men, specialized in the theft and selling of arms, are aged between 23 and 41 years old. According to one of them, it was a first trial. I have never sold a gun before. This was the first one which I was still planning to sell. Thanks to an informant, investigations were opened and the suspects were picked up in different neighborhoods in the city of Douala. They were presented to the media. During the presentation, the security officials called for close collaboration with the public.
And from Douala in the littoral region, we now move to Belabo in the east region of Cameroon, where angry bike riders have destroyed the windows of the Belabo District Hospital. According to the bike riders, 2 of their colleagues who were severely injured and brought to the hospital were neglected upon. They say there was no doctor to receive them. This made them furious, causing them to destroy a section of the hospital. They claim at the time they arrived, doctors were in a meeting and never saw the need to attend to the injured victims. The divisional officer and other administrative authorities managed to calm down the angry bike riders. From the East region, we now take you to the West region, where a 37-year-old man called Bertrand, who is equally a teacher, or Raymond, was discovered hanging on a tree in the Hukaha neighborhood in the West region of Cameroon. Investigations have been launched to ascertain whether he was killed before being hanged on the tree or if he actually died by committing suicide. Reports, however, indicate that the man had been arrested earlier after having a dispute with his wife. 2 days later, he was released. Shortly after the incident, the unfortunate, he committed suicide. And now, the prices of basic commodities continues to skyrocket across markets in Cameroon. Low-income earners say they are unable to afford for 3 square meals on their table due to the situation. Innocent Aze tells us more about a report brought about by the National Institute of Statistics concerning this rise in price.
According to a publication of the National Institute of Statistics on trends in household final consumer prices in Yaoundé, in the month of July this year, food products prices are following inflationary pressures, up by 13.7% year-on-year. Compared to the month of June, the overall price level rose by 0.8% in July due to a 1.5% increase in food prices and a 2.3% spike in restaurants and hotels prices. Prices of imported food products increased by 0.3%, while the prices of locally produced food products increased by 1.8%. Compared to the same month in 2021, prices rose by 6.8%. A year after, the change was 2.0%. The rise in July 2022 was as a result of 13.7% soaring food prices. On average, over the past 12 months, prices rose by 4.0% above the threshold set at 3% by CEMAC because of increase on food prices by 9.6%. As concerns Douala, in the month of August 2022, inflationary prices on food products intensified by plus 14.5% year-on-year, with education costs increased by 3.0% in 1 month. Compared to the month of July, consumer prices increased by 0.6% in August due to the 0.7% rise in food prices, 3.0% in education costs, as well as 1.0% in prices of clothing and footwear. Compared to the same month in 2021, the general level of prices increased by 6.6% as a result of the 14.5% increase in food product prices, particularly oils and fats. On average, over the past 12 months, prices rose by 4.0%. This rise was mainly as a result of the 9.6% increase in food prices. According to the National Institute of Statistics, energy prices in Yaoundé and Douala remained virtually stable as a result of subsidized fuel prices at the pump and domestic gas.
And in the same vein, our reporter, AC Lucy Liengo, went looking in markets about the recent hike in prices. Speaking to some consumers, they say they are unable to afford for 3 square meals on their tables. They say this rise in price is making things extremely difficult for them. Take a listen to this report where she compiled their views.
Prices of basic commodities in Cameroon have increased by 2.5% according to the National Institute of Statistics. Commodities like sugar, milk, mayonnaise, butter are facing a hike in their prices. At the new Daido market in the city of Douala, buyers complain of a reduction in the quantity of milk and sugar.
Avant, j'arrivais à acheter le lait à 1000.
At first, I could buy milk powder for 1.5, but now I buy for 1.9. But when I look at the quantity, it has really reduced. To add, the taste is no longer the same. It now has a different taste. A similar case with sugar, the quantity has reduced, but price has increased. In fact, everything is no longer consistent.
La quantité n'est plus vraiment conséquente.
According to Ngomba Kundok Sophie, a trader, it is becoming very difficult for them to make sales.
We are very disappointed because many customers are coming back every time to complain about the quantity of our goods. A bucket of chocolate is not the same quantity we have now. Before it was very full, but now it's not enough.
Sellers also complain of a shortage in sugar and an increase in the price of butter in the market. Yamen Benedict Valerie is a seller.
Concerning the sugar, there's no sugar at all in the market. Even when you send a child to go and buy sugar, maybe let's just say the sugar of 100. At first they was giving you sugar, maybe 15 cubes of sugar for 100. But now it does not even reach, let's say maximum is 10 cubes of sugar that they can give a child now. For the butter now, 5 kilogram of butter, the bucket of 5 kilogram of butter. What at first 3.5, 4.5, but now the 5 kilogram bucket of butter is now 5,500.
According to the president of the Cameroon Consumer Good Association, Abena Afons, the law stipulates that the current market situation is illegal.
Il faut rappeler que la loi régissant l'activité.
With respect to Article 2015-018 of 21st of December 2015, it is therefore against the law to maintain the price of a particular good which its quantity has reduced. This becomes an illicit practice. To remedy this, there should be transparency between the producers and the sellers.
Il faudrait la transparence des producteurs et des vendeurs.
Buyers and sellers are calling on the authorities concerned to look into the situation.
And over to our SAC page, Batibo Divisional Officer Kwadze Enes Kari is no more. The native of Dungamantum Division in the northwest region of Cameroon died at the military hospital in Yaoundé. He was appointed divisional officer for Batibo following a presidential decree passed on September 19, 2018. And out of Cameroon, Mali's Prime Minister Abdoulaye Maiga has triumphantly been received back home by the population city dwellers in the country's capital, Bamako. They came out in mass to say welcome to the head or the lead of government in approval of the speech he delivered at the United Nations General Assembly. It was very difficult for his convoy to go through the huge crowd in Bamako earlier today. Last Saturday, Prime Minister Abdoulaye Maiga lashed out at former colonial master France, the United Nations Secretary General, and many people in between. He said his country is in turbulence today and had been stabbed in the back by the French military withdrawal. In the same remarks, Abdoulaye Maiga praised what he qualified as exemplary and a fruitful cooperation between Mali and Russia. Maiga directly criticized the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres and slammed what he called France's unilateral decision to relocate its remaining troops to the neighboring Niger amid deteriorating relations with Mali's two-time coup leader and now transitional president Colonel Assimi Goïta. And now to sports. The match between Cameroon and South Korea was not followed by most Cameroonians in some neighborhoods which we visited. Many say the match was of no importance to them, while others say they blamed the defeat of Cameroon on the poor selection of players by the head coach Rigobert Song. Details in this report compiled by sportsman Smart Chikangerel.
Major junctions in Bepanda, Douala 5 subdivision. It was rather a busy atmosphere we met at the time when Cameroon was taking on South Korea at the World Cup Stadium in Seoul. Most of the people we met claimed that the period when the match was programmed wasn't favorable to them as they have to fend for their families.
I'm not watching the match because things are not moving. I can't drop what I'm doing to feed my family because I want to watch a match which was wrongly programmed. I am not watching the match because the timing wasn't the best and my work is more important to me.
At a tailor's workshop still in Bepanda, the TV was on, but the man wasn't interested in the game.
I just kept the match, but I'm working because I'm not really interested. It's just a friendly match, so it doesn't really move me at all.
Most drinking spots, which are usually packed to capacity when Cameroon is involved in a game, were also empty, with just a handful of persons spotted interested in the game. With the defeat of Cameroon by South Korea, one of the supporters was fast to say young players were supposed to be given the chance.
We have to be truthful. Some young players were put on the reserve bench, but we prefer old fathers. The last match and this one against South Korea, our main problem is the speed. We have a defense that doesn't run. If it is the team we are taking to Qatar, better we stay back.
According to this supporter, preparing for the FIFA World Cup in Qatar, it's not time to please people.
We should take those who can deliver. In football, there is no joke. South Korea presented its first 11 who will be defending them in Qatar. So we need to stop pleasing people because they help them in one way or the other.
In 2 games during this international break, Cameroon has lost all. First to Uzbekistan, no goal to 2, and now to South Korea, no goal to 1. The defeat is the third for Rigobert Song since he took over as head coach. Cameroon's last match before the World Cup will take place in Cameroon on November 9, 2022 against Jamaica.
Meanwhile, some African representatives at the FIFA World Cup were also on the pitch today. Senegal faces Iran, Ghana challenges Nicaragua, Morocco faces Paraguay, while Cameroon's World Cup opponent Brazil will take on Tunisia. And that's where we end this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thank you so much for your keen attention. Up next is Equinoxe Soir.
Equinoxe Télévision, au-delà de